Green Arrow number 27, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Andrea Sorrentino. So last issue, we went back to the island, and we got a little bit of Oliver's origin story about how he took up archery when he was a kid and then had to relearn it and blah, blah, blah. But the big thing that we ended with was the leader of the Outsiders is sending the Shield clan to go attack Oliver and Shadow because they have found the resting place of the arrow totem. So we pick up on the island years ago when Oliver was captured by some people who were paramilitary there. And as they wake him up, they're like, all right, who are you? Who are you working for? Why are you here? And he's just like, I'm Oliver Queen. I was stranded here. I don't know nothing about nobody. And we see this masked man come in and he's like, you're lying. Tell us your name, your real name. And he's like, I'm Oliver Queen. I'm serious. That's all I got. I got money. You want money? I can give you money. He's just like, all right, well, let's do it the hard way. And they start like torturing him and waterboarding him and trying to get the info out of him. So we cut to now, and as we're at the tomb of the Arrow clan, they go up to where the arrow should be, and it ain't there. And Shadow's like, seriously? Like, you still don't get it? You still don't understand what's going on? And he's like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, do you honestly think that it's coincidence that you and your father, you were stranded on this island that your father went to before? Like, this is all just happenstance? You seriously think that? And he's just like, if you got something to tell me, just say it already. I'm sick of the games and everything like that. And she's like, you already know it. You know it. You just don't accept it. And he's just like, all right, enough. But then they hear some pounding and some rhythmic chanting outside. And they're like, all right, well, something's going on. Let's check that out. And as they go back up, they find the Shield clan has arrived with its leader, Kodiak, and trouble for Oliver. But then we cut over to Japantown, San Francisco. And for anybody who's been listening for the past 10 months of me talk about what's going on in Katana that just ended, this is so much better than any of that. So we see Katana's like meditating, and Magus shows up and says, hey, Tatsu, I've come to, and then immediately she's got a sword at his throat, and he's be like, I prefer you tell me who the hell you are before you start giving me offers and stuff like that. And she's like, that's a cool sword you got there. It's, a bit of a Sword Clan thing. You know about the Sword Clan? You know about all that other stuff going on? Mona Shard, Coil, a bunch of stuff that happened in your comic. It's all connected to this thing called the Outsiders. Does that sound familiar? And Katana's like, vaguely, I feel like we use that word once or twice in my book. And it's like, cool. I can answer every question you have if you come with me. But be forewarned, it's a bloody trail ahead. And Katana's like, I'm down. That's kind of my whole thing. So Shadow and Oliver immediately start firing their arrows at the Shield clan. It's a beautiful sequence here. Just paneling is amazing. And of course, the Shield stop it because they're just arrows. And so Oliver's like, okay, normal arrows didn't work. Now you get to see why trick arrows are important. And he does like a flip over top of them and manages to fire a arrow at one of them. It gets lodged in their shield, but turns out it's an explosive arrow. So immediately big explosion. And Shadow's like, I will never make fun of your trick arrows again. So he starts going through the whole gambit. He got like fire spewing arrows. He got net arrows, and he just starts taking out the Shield clan one by one. And seems like they won, but unfortunately, there's still Kodiak to deal with. And he jumps off a cliff and lands right next to him. And he's just like, man, I had a whole thing going on with some Danish twins that I got pulled away from this. And you guys are just so weak. You're not even worth my time. So Oliver tries firing off a few arrows saying like, Jesus Christ, you clan heads talk so much. And he's like, yeah, well, you know how it is. So at that point, they realize, all right, well, we need to run. So they just start bolting away from Kodiak, who's yelling after him. He's just like, get back here. Don't waste my time like this. You know you're already dead. And Oliver's like, don't worry. I have a place where we can regroup. So we cut back to years ago, and he's still being tortured by a guy. And he's like, look, we've been at this for weeks. Tell us what we want to know. Tell us who you really are. We're not going to let you die, even though that's all you want right now. We can keep you alive forever if we have to. Like, we're going to get our info. And he pulls out a pair of pliers and he asks the question, like, who sent you? And he starts like pulling at one of Oliver's teeth. But then Oliver's like, you know what? Up until this point, I was the little rich boy, even still, even after all the stuff I went through. But I had to kill that version of myself to survive here. And he headbutts the guard, manages to break free from the chair. We see that he gets a wooden shard out of the chair, and the guard's like, well, now hold on now. You know, you're not a killer. You're just a kid. And Oliver just gets on top of him and stabs him repeatedly in the face. So the guard is dead, and just like that, the Oliver Queen from before dies with him. So he grabs a jacket and he immediately bolts from the base. And the rest of the guards see him and they say, "Oh, kill him, he's free." And we see him running through the woods, and then it cuts back to current day where Oliver and Shadow are approaching the same base where he was before. And Oliver's like, "Well, this is it. This is where I was kept for weeks." And Shadow's like, "I know. Seriously, do you not get this? Do you not understand it yet?" And he's just like, "What do you mean I'm supposed to get something? Jesus, what's going on?" And she says, like, "Look, none of this was an accident. Absolutely none of it. Every single aspect of this was planned. The fact that you rode up on this island, the fact that you had to use archery in order to survive, the fact that you were captured for a few weeks and you were being not tortured, but tested and trained. Come on, man, put it together." And he's like, "No, I refuse to accept it." And stepping up behind Shadow is the same masked man as before, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, Oliver, I didn't have a choice. I had to bring you here to keep you safe from LaCroix and prepare you for war. That's right, it is me, son." And he takes off his mask, and it's Oliver's dad. He survived. He's alive. Somehow, Oliver's dad has survived. Solid. I mean, what am I even supposed to say? The paneling in this is great. The pacing of it's fantastic. The backstory, origin story, the current story going on, the villains in terms of the Shield clan, all of it, fantastic. I love every single panel of this. The only thing that I would give any critique for is that Oliver's a bit too thick-skulled. Like, I think all of the readers kind of put together like 3 issues ago of like, no, he didn't wash up on that island by accident. That's too coincidental. But Oliver, for some reason, just needed it extra spelled out for him. But beyond that, I can't fault any of this. I think it is I'm going to give it a 9. And the only reason I'm not going higher is that I think that it still has greater heights it can reach. I think that there is something more to this that we're building to, and when it hits it, that's when it's going to deserve the 10. But as it stands now, it's still absolutely fantastic.